What is up, everybody? I'm here with Jomotitan Games, and we are looking at and reviewing the brand new special edition of Castles of Burgundy. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody, to 9 to 5 Gamers. I am here with Joel from Jomotitan Gaming, who sells board games online. So if you're interested in buying them, we'll leave the link in the description where you can find his games at. And how you feel today, man?
Great, Jeremy, man. This is very exciting for me. First time around doing this. And we're covering a classic game that I think everyone should play at least once in their lives.
Oh, for sure. Actually, I think it made my list for that. I had a list that's like everybody should either own this game or play this game at least once. So with that said, don't forget, as always, like this video. It helps with the algorithm. And in the comment section, let me know, what do you think of Castles of Burgundy? How high does it rank in your list? And if you've never subscribed to these videos, go ahead and subscribe. What's it gonna hurt, right? And I'm gonna remind you later because I pester people and that's what I do. So with that said, let's get into our review. So today we played Castles of Burgundy. I've played this game a bunch of times, but this is your first time playing it, which is super awesome. So we're gonna get some first impressions from you of what you thought. Oh, what's your overall take on the game?
I mean, I loved the game. It was, it's not simple to learn, but it's within my wheel well, and I think it's within most average gamers' wheel well to pick this game up pretty quickly. And it just got so much strategic depth, and the replayability is crazy on it. Like, there's so much stuff you can do every time around. We only got a chance to play it once, but I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, and I think, like, when it comes to, like, the weight of the game, it's not exactly Gateway. Maybe Gateway Plus, but, like, it's not hard to play. It's just that the amount of stuff you can do on your turn is so vast that I could see it making a lot of people, like, the first time playing it go, I mean, I think you said it multiple times. You're like, there's so much I can do right now. And it's kind of overwhelming at first. But let's just go through kind of a little bit. What do you think of the overall, like, the way the game is organized and the way it sets up? Well, you didn't really get to set it up, unfortunately.
No, you set it up for us. You know, I would imagine setup takes a minute. We're playing the deluxe version, which was a special Kickstarter, and this thing is chock full of stuff. So it's got a ton of beautiful pieces.
The game is really easy to set up. Like, it's, even though it's like the deluxe version of it, it doesn't take me very long to get everything out on the table. I know that that's a huge hindrance to a lot of people. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, where you have a game that it just takes so long to set up, it just never makes it to the table.
Yeah, it happens in our weekly board game groups, especially later in the evening where you want to squeeze another game in, but you know, you'd love to play a specific game and you go, but it takes 20 minutes to set up, or it takes 15 minutes to set up, so it gets nixed. You know, so definitely I think this would be a board game that you play early on in the night, just in case it runs a little long. But once you get used to it, I'm sure the setup goes fairly quickly.
Yeah, and you'll want to set it up before people come over, but set up and tear down is not too bad. And the game is organized very well. Like, it comes with spots for everything. Even if you get the deluxe bits, which, you know, like, those are all separate. They came in their own separate containers, so fitting everything into the box, it is possible. And I know that Board Game Garden did a pretty good job of hers. You just got to fast forward through it because hers was like 40 minutes to show you how to put everything back. But maybe I might make a shorter one. But you can definitely get all the deluxe stuff into the box. So I think setup and storage is solid. I personally think it's easy to set up and store, and it does a very good job of fitting everything into the box. So for me, obviously, you know, I give it 2 points for that, just because I try to give it out of 10. So setup and storage is great. How did you feel learning the game? Did you feel overwhelmed?
Well, I'm going to give you some kudos because you're a fairly good teacher at this stuff. So
appreciate that.
So you make it pretty simple to learn. I really only had a handful of questions as we were progressing through the game.
That is true.
It's like I said, once you know what the things does, and you've got the handy cheat card, so everything's right in front of you. Once you know what things do, the turns are fairly simple. You roll a couple of dice, and then your dice gives you abilities and things you can do in your turn, and that's the gist of it. So really fairly easy to learn, and with a great teacher, it only helps.
Yeah, I mean, and for me to learn the game, it's actually not that complicated. Like, the rules are not super overly complicated, but it is within a certain, like, I think, depends on how many games you've played and what type of games you played. You might find it a little easier. For somebody just picking it up, I don't recommend it if this is like your first time playing one of these types of games that you would do that. But for the most part, it is relatively easy to teach, easy to learn. And I like it too because just like most games, I just tell you, hey, look, in order to win, you have to have the most points. This is what you do on your turn to get points. And let's just start playing, and then we'll go over certain rules as we play, which usually is the best way to teach people. But I thought it was pretty solid there too. And 2 points for me on that. As far as the next part of it is like the production quality overall and theme. I mean, even if you grab like that box over there, even the inside of the box is like, it's gorgeous. Like, it looks so nice. And so like the artwork and the component quality for me is just top tier, and that's because Aaliyah Games, they just take every game and make it so much better. What did you think about the overall production?
I mean, this is the deluxe version, and now this is a tried and true game, so it's been around forever. So there's multiple different versions of it by Ravensburg. There's the 20-year anniversary version, and this deluxe version, I believe it came out last year. The production quality's incredible on it. I mean, everything is a work of art. So yeah. So if you can spend the money on this and get it and pick it up secondhand, I would do it. But if you just want to play the game, any of the older versions will do.
I agree with that, actually. Like, I don't think you need this big deluxe version in order to have fun or more fun in the game. It's nice, and it draws, like, a good table presence. When I first played the original version of this game, I have, like, the very first version, and I got that for, like, $5 at a flea market. Played it, loved it. I gave it a 9 out of 10 just because... And the only point that I knocked off of it, I was like, this thing is ugly as heck. Like, the very first version of this was horrendous. It's super tan. Like, the board was like this color. It was just really bad. I still have it. It's back there somewhere. Maybe I can bring it out for comparison later. But this version is just so beautiful that I'm like, it's top tier. Is it worth the money? I'd say for $100, if you found this like special edition for like $100, I think that's more than worth the money for the experience you get, and it doesn't take away from the game. I wouldn't buy the 3D terrain pack. There's like this thing where it gives you like 3D terrain. I don't think that's worth it. I actually want to sell mine, but for the most part, I think you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. But I don't think it's like you said, I don't think it's absolutely necessary to have this version of the game.
Yeah, so I would agree with that. You know, the initial Kickstarter, I believe, was right around the $100 mark. I'm pretty sure at this point you're going to be playing upwards of $150 if you try to source it on a secondary market. But you know, if you're the guy that loves this game and this is your go-to game, maybe it's worth $150 to you to get this beautiful version.
You had a bunch of copies of this game.
I did. I sold through all of them, and again, it was those tried and true players that love the game and just had to have that deluxe version.
And I know of people who don't like the game, so obviously it's like, find the cheaper version, play that. If you love it, upgrade to this for sure. Especially for me, because I spent $5 on my other copy, so this was naturally like a nice increase. So, but that's it for artwork, component quality. Everything is perfect. So that's 2 more points for me. The other aspect of it is the gameplay, and I think for a lot of people this is the most important part of a game, is how it plays. Because I think for some people it's like, it can be ugly, but if it plays well, I'm willing to overlook the ugly. And then there's some people that are like, if it's ugly, I just won't play it. Judge a book by its cover. What did you think of the overall gameplay, the mechanisms that it uses in this game?
I loved it. So the gameplay is really smooth. The only hiccup I had with it was, for a first-time player, I don't obviously know what all the tiles do. And I don't know how they fit into the end sequence of scoring points. Right. So you beat me pretty handily, which I'm not mad too much. But what I think about it is, once you play it a couple of times and you're aware of what those things are and how they impact the game, I think you'll probably even enjoy the game more than you did the initial few times, because you're just become more familiar with it.
Yeah.
So end of the game scoring, I think we talked about this briefly when we played, impacts heavily at the end of the game. And if you're not familiar with how those end of the game scorings figure into the amount of points you can get at the end of the game, then you kind of overlook it during the game, and that's what ended up kind of letting you kind of beat me by a large sum at the end, was just a couple of tiles.
Because I had found this on the board, and I was like, I think I'm gonna like capitalize on it. But this one, basically, these monastery tiles give you 2 points for every goods tile. Well, monasteries have end game scoring, and the one that I had gave me 2 points for every good I sold. So it's like every good I sold was 2 points. So I sold 12 goods, getting me 24 points. Then at the end of the game, this one gave me those 2 points for every good I sold again. And I ended up getting like 48 points from that. And, oh, wait. You know what? I actually scored that wrong. I would have still won, but it was not by as much. Because it's 2 points for each type of good sold, not for each good sold.
You gotta watch him like
you gotta watch me like a hawk. I cheated, but I still think that would have been, what, 2, 4, how many goods tiles did I sell? I think there was like 4 types. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So like 8 instead of 24. But either way, it was a very close game. And I think that's one of the things I like about it. Like, the gameplay is so solid. You just roll dice, and then with those dice you take, you can either take a tile from the game board, which is over here. I gotta pull it back just a little bit, so make this thing so that way we can see it. So on here, there's like tiles that, you know, you can buy, and they have different dice on them. So it's like you spend a die to grab a tile, put it on your board, and then on your next turn, you can use the other die, or you could use a die maybe on a future turn to place it into your board. And all the boards have, obviously they have these, this thing's gonna fall, but they have like numbers printed on them, dice numbers. And so you basically are just using your die to do one of two things. You are going to take a tile or add a tile to your board, and that's it. And it's super simple, like the gameplay. So I think that's why so many people like it, is because it's not like super complicated to play, but there's a lot of strategic depth in how you play and how you manage your hand, because you could end up at the end of the game with, you know, half as many tiles as your opponent, because a lot of times you're spending your dice to like just get workers or do all these auxiliary actions, but somebody's using their tiles efficiently. If you can fill your board, that's incredible. I don't think I've done that yet, but this is like really close to that. But filling the board can be very, very difficult.
Yeah, I think you were shy of filling the board by like 7, and I was shy of filling the board by like 10. So I think we played pretty efficiently. We maximized what we could do during the game, and ultimately that gives you a better experience for the capacity of the quantity of points that you can score in the end game. So.
Yeah, and I like that on your turn there's so much you can do. Like, you're never in a turn where you're like, I can't do anything. It's like every turn you can do something. Even if it's just spending a die to take 2 workers, that's going to help you on future turns to change and mitigate your dice rolls. But also, like, I love the decision space of how you're going to kind of build, because everybody's kind of racing to fill their different patches of, like, you know, animals or the ships, and whoever does that first gets these bonus tiles. So everybody's kind of racing to complete those, because it's like a free 5, 6, 7 points every time you do it. But I just love how easy this game plays and how much decision space there is in the game.
Yeah, there's such a huge variety of actions that you can take in such a simple game. Every time that that it's your turn, you're thinking about it. I mean, you're looking at multiple different things, and then you factor in your opponents, right? So what are they going to do on their turn that's going to help them win? And do you need to spend your resources or a part of your turn hampering them from getting too far ahead of you? So all those things are weighing in on your decision making every single turn. So I love that part of it.
And there's so much, man. Like, and that's what I love about this game. Like, the reason I love this game so much is because of the variety of things there is on the board to do, the amount of thinking I have to do. It can definitely be AP inducing. So if somebody gets analysis paralysis, we'll sit here for like 5-6 minutes waiting for that person to take their turn. It definitely can happen. So be careful with that person when you play with them.
Or don't invite them.
There you go. And so that's it for gameplay mechanisms, things like that. I think it's another 2 points for that for me. And the last thing is, what do you think about the overall just fun factor? Like, is this game fun? And then also, how replayable is it?
So fun factor, I can't give you a good solid answer. And the reason is I've only played it one time. Yeah. I would love to play it again. I feel like it's a game I would enjoy over and over again, and that it could hit the table during any gaming session, and I'd be like, oh yeah, Castles of Burgundy, I'm down, let's play. But how much fun it's going to be, I don't have that gauge just yet, because I haven't played it a few times.
Yeah.
So usually I like to play a game 2 to 3 times before I make my final verdict on it. Right. And the reason is because sometimes you miss things during that initial learning curve, and or you just don't see a couple of different scenarios populate early on when you're your first few playthroughs,
Yeah.
and then it takes the second, third time to kind of get through some of the stuff that doesn't happen consistently, and to kind of gauge it for value and whether you enjoy that coming up or not.
Yeah, that is true. I think that it's, like having played it a bunch of times, I think I know that I can say that I enjoy the game. But it's like there are some games sometimes that it's like, I played this, I loved it. Then you play it the second time and you're like, that one was okay. And then you play it the third time and you're like, okay, I don't like this. Or if somebody figures out a way to kind of like break the game and then you're like,
yeah, it's
not fun anymore.
You kind of start spotting holes in it, in the mechanics, and then you're like, oh, that can either be exploited or it's just not fun to play.
Yeah.
So like I like to give games, but this game's been around for 20 plus years. I don't think I'm going to have a bad experience if I play it a second.
I think so. I mean, at the end of the game though, you had fun playing it, and you want to play it again.
Absolutely.
So I think that would be kind of where we're at as far as fun factor goes. For me, I love this game, and I always want to play it. This is actually one of my like top 10 games of all time, and it rocketed up over a bunch of games because there's so many games that when I thought about the comparison, I was like, would I rather play Castles of Burgundy or this? I'm like, Castles of Burgundy. Yeah. And I just kept finding myself saying, man, there's not a lot of games that I feel do what this game does, and I just had a blast. And then replayability is insane on this game.
Yeah, you were showing me some of the pieces that you had, and like literally every single one of these, there's 30 options for every single player. That's insane.
Yeah, the little player boards have interchangeable maps, and so you can get different maps where everybody has an asymmetric map where everybody's playing with, I'm playing with this map which has like an island and it's just surrounded by water and it has a whole moat, and there's so many different like map varieties that there's infinite replayability. But not even just that, it's the fact that when you're reaching into these bags to pull out these tokens to put on the board,
it's going to be different every time.
It's going to be different every time.
Yep.
Different. You're going to get it at different rounds, earlier in the game. Like the variety changes everything. Not to mention there's plenty of expansions that you can add to this. I've got like the vineyard expansion that lets you grow grapes for your wine. There's another monastery board that goes off to the side. There's other kinds of things. There's a solo mode. There is so much variety to this game that you could play it forever and still never
you won't be bored anytime soon.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it's got great variety. It's got replayability. It's got fun factor for me. So this is a game that for me, with the final 2 points I'm giving for just all of that, I'm at a perfect 10. I think that this game is just, for me, just a perfect game. I don't think there's really much wrong with it that I could look at it and say, well, obviously this is a bad part of the game. Like, I just feel like it's like, you know what, I sucked at this part, but I know that next time I'll avoid doing this, and I can kind of see where I went wrong even after the game is over, which I think is super important in a game.
Yeah, I feel like the game is overall, I have a hard time giving anything a 10, but I'm somewhere in the 9.5 range. I'd like to play it a handful of times before I bump that 0.5% back up. But yeah, I loved it the first play around, and we only played 2 people, so I would love to see how this game plays with friends and family. I also can't wait to get home to show my wife, because she's been dying to learn this game, and now I've been taught the game, I can teach it to her. So
you own a copy of this game?
I do. I have the 20th anniversary.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's a nice edition of the game.
It looks more like this. I haven't even opened the box. So
there you go. It looks better than my other one. Because I was going to say, I was like, if you guys need a copy, I got one. And I'm like, oh, you got the 20th anniversary. I got the ugly one. But that's it, man. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. And thank you, Joel from Jomotitan Games, for coming in. And we're going to be working together a lot more closely in the next coming videos, right?
Absolutely. We plan to cover a lot of these games, talk about industry trends, as well as upcoming and current news in the industry. Both 9 to 5 gamers and Jomotitan Gaming, we love the community. We love everyone that we play games with, and we love meeting new folks that bring that enthusiasm and that joy for games like we have to the table. So looking forward to sharing our experiences and what we know with everyone. And, leave us some feedback. Let us know if we're doing something wrong or if you're doing something right. We'd love to hear from everyone.
Yeah, tell us what you would like us to talk about in the comments section. Tell us, hey, look, I really want to know about this game or what's going on with this person, because sometimes we get some drama in the industry and stuff like that. So we want to talk about all of that. We're going to kind of have our own little podcast format for that. So thank you guys for tuning into this video. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed by now, subscribe. Trying to get to 20,000, and Jomotitan's trying to get up to
3. I'd like 3.
3 subscribers. And so, we both have our goals, and we're trying to shoot forward to that. So subscribe to both the channels, and don't forget to have a good day. See you guys later.
Thanks. See ya.